Hey, this is Joel Oney at the J Money Studio in the heart of the Buckeye State. And I want to personally welcome you to today's episode of the Steel Kings podcast with my good friends Jared Ledford and Eric Olson, better known to you as the Steel Kings. Be sure to check out jmoneyllc.com for financing solutions for your buildings. And now, let's get back to the Steel Kings podcast.
All right, man. Hey, guys. It's Jared and Eric with the Steel Kings podcast, episode number 2. We are back at you. Yeah, we're back at you again, bringing you some hot content. Quick house cleaning here at the beginning of the show. We are brought to you and sponsored by the guys over at J Money. If you've got a project that you need finance, whether it be a woodshed, metal building, if you're a home improvement contractor, they can help you out. Give those guys a shout over at J Money. Joel and Katie will get you taken care of. Eric, what's up, dude? How are you today, man?
What's up, Mr. Jared? Just another day.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Mid-February, trying to fight through this last little bit of the slow build season, and things are starting to pick up. So, man, it's perfect time for episode 2.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we so a lot of our listeners, right, are sitting on a shed lot or selling metal buildings, maybe in their house, or maybe they're working for a company, right? And we're all feeling the stresses of the slow time, right? That last half of December into like the middle of February, it's like, we've earned that 6-week, 8-week kind of drop off. You take some time off, you get your batteries recharged, and you head back out, and you're thinking, oh man, it's time for another busy season. So taxes are coming due, and those are good times for building salespeople, right?
Yeah, you got to put your mower somewhere. So
that's right.
The backyard I'm looking at my backyard. I'm like, that grass isn't going to mow itself soon. So I'm looking forward to the warm weather. But I've always thought kind of in the wintertime, that's when we've done our building. So you thrive when you're busy doing sales. And then somewhat when it kind of dips off, man, you got a little bit more free time, so you can start building and thrive in that way in kind of a build mode with the visions. So we're kind of teetering in between wrapping up the building and ramping up advertising for sales. So
yeah, man. Yeah,
let's get into it.
It's really, this is probably my favorite time of the year, right? Because it's that refresh, that new energy that we're going through a lot of major changes here. We're expanding and new business relationships for 2025. And, I hope you guys out there listening are doing that same thing, right? Making those plans, getting that 3-month, 6-month, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, update those vision boards, get your plan of action, get those manageable action items. As one of our friends will tell you, action items produce results, right? So,
that's right.
I want to get into a little bit. We left off last time. We told a little bit about the Steel Kings, the origin of the Steel Kings. I want to get into the nitty gritty of what we do here and how we really started. Because I think a lot of the people that are listening to us right now are where you were almost 6 years ago now, right? I mean, we're getting into the 6th year.
Man, we are in the 6th year. It's hard to believe that this thing's it's not a toddler anymore. This thing is walking, running, eating.
That's right.
Screaming.
That's right.
So I guess we kind of scratched the surface, I think, of how me and you connected and kind of painted the picture. But okay, what's the root? What's the source of the business? Like where did it actually come from? And I think you got to go to some of the unseen parts of it, which, happened before I think the business even started, which was pretty much like what was going on in the summer of 2019. Prior to the October launch of Dayton Barns, we're coming off of, if you're in the Ohio area and you're listening from Ohio, if not, do a quick Google search if you want to know. We got hit by like 20 tornadoes plus in May of 2019, and my family owns a property north of Dayton, and I think over 200 trees got knocked down in an F4 tornado. And I had just recently left a a career job to take the summer off and kind of regroup. Wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I was kind of sick of chasing the corporate title, which I always kind of thought was, if I could just get here or make it there or get this thing, and then I would find some happiness, and decided to kind of flip the table over. And my dad and I bought a bulldozer. We started pulling out logs and just trying to figure out what are we going to do with all this wood, basically. And I know you guys are listening, thinking, "Oh, he made sheds." No, didn't make sheds. We'll get there, but started working with my hands a little bit, and so I actually started making rounds of cross sections of tree trunks, putting hairpin legs on them, and selling them on Facebook. And I ended up kind of figuring out, just through the devastation of a tornado, like, you can make money on your own. You can start a business. You can. I was so dead set that 9 to 5 was it, and figured out that to pay your bills, really, you just need to have income, and getting creative was one of my fortes, I think, and that kind of led me to be a little more open about how to make money and how to provide for yourself, etc. And my brother-in-law had a shed business in Dayton. He had a couple locations that was selling a pretty well-known manufacturer's sheds, and they decided to pass up on the Huber Heights location because he was getting busy doing something else, and that location became available. And I think due to the risks I was taking over the summer with not working officially, it kind of led me to take that leap of faith, and in reality, outbirth Dayton Barns, which was 12 sheds, side lofted or a cabin, a frame cabin, a lofted cabin, a garden shed, a utility shed, a garage, lofted garage, and I had like 2 metal buildings there, and I just said yes. And the first day we opened was October 15th, 2019. And I sold my first shed there. It was a side lofted 10 by 16, hideous. Guy's name was Brian, lives in Vandalia. Got a picture of him. We could probably post somewhere if we want. I got a picture of him, and it was just a 10 by 16 side lofted shed. And man, I think now we're probably pushing 10,000 units sold. And that was kind of like the start of it. And I know that's kind of the precursor, but left corporate world to take a risk, and now we're making a podcast 6 years later.
Yeah, talking to people, I think we're talking to a lot of those people that are kind of sitting in those same shoes, right? They're sitting on a shed lot, or they're sitting on a, like I said, they might be selling metal buildings at home, or they might be working for a company. What drove you? What was the motivating factor? Was it the money? Was it the freedom? What about the industry really, not everybody sticks with it, right? There's a lot of people that have done it for a long time, but there's a lot of people that do it. They'll do it for, a little bit of time and they give it up. What about it for you stuck with you?
It wasn't the money on day one. That's a fact.
Yeah, true story.
I think I was in a humble place of not caring so much about what it looked like. I think that from a baseline standpoint, I'm you know me pretty well. I like to make things better. Whatever the thing is, people, places, and things, you can make it better. You can always feel better, dress better, be more organized. You could be healthier. You could get stronger. And I think that over the course of my life, I've always strived and never quit. My past is colorful, and I've just never given up on anything. So I think realizing, okay, I've got a desk and a Mac and a laptop and 12 sheds. Okay, so now I need a new desk. I want a better computer. I need more customers. So then I need better signage, and then I needed to make a Facebook page and then a website. And I just kept, okay, next thing. And then, I came up for air, I think, and realized I was decent at seeing exactly where we were and like whatever the next step was, and I think that was the to answer your question, I think that was really what I, constantly trying to make it better, getting to the next level, and then, okay, what's the next thing? And man, that never ends. And like we're sitting here today, on the edge of 2025, like, what is our next step, man? It's never, that flame has never went out once. So I think it's probably the vision of how can we keep going was probably, because it certainly wasn't money or fame. It certainly wasn't anything flashy at the beginning.
I think it's funny you say October 2019. So you and I met, I think, February of 2020. So you were still relatively young in this industry and really getting your feet wet. And you made an impactful, we talked about this on the last podcast, you made an impactful friend, right? I mean, we became pretty quickly, I would say we were friends pretty quickly. And, I was brought into the loop as a customer, and I didn't join on until, I didn't start until February of 22. So walk me through the process of how you transitioned yourself from the wood guy in your area, because you quickly became kind of a force to be reckoned with that wood company. I mean, you were selling a very good, and to be completely transparent, and I'll let you tell the story, but the way you've told me is, hey, it came down to money. It came down to commission, right? Everybody that's on this that sells, on consignment for a wood manufacturer knows that the commission, a lot of times, is pretty much what it is. There's not a whole lot of negotiation. They'll pull your lot. They'll take your sheds away. Tell me about that process without getting into too many details, but I want the whole story, right? Well, these are our friends that are listening. They deserve the whole story, the truth, and nothing but the truth.
Okay.
All right.
It's a heck of a question. And I as the listener, you're thinking, we all want more money, right? I would say, again, it honestly wasn't so much about the money. I was a youth pastor at the beginning of the business, and I had some kids in that youth group that thought this thing was the coolest thing ever. And I think inadvertently we needed more money just so I could pay people because they shared the same passions. So I think then I began to see, like, okay, other people can learn this. And so we started the Troy lot. We had a fella running the Troy lot. And then we were 2 locations, and which was fun, but we also had to pay base salaries and different things. And so we've got 2 parts to that answer. One's the wood part, and then the other part is the metal and how that kind of came into fruition. When you're expanding, you absolutely have to have more than wood. And unless you're moving sheds with the mule, the mule, unless you're muling them or manufacturing them or something, some portion of the sales process and the whole customer experience. If you're not doing that particular part of it, you can only grow through selling more buildings, and you can only sell more buildings. If you expand either through advertising, coverage area, locations. And so the guy kind of outgrew working with me and Huber. We decided to take over the Troy lot, which is super profitable. It's still rocking today under a different leadership named Pete. And if you're in the Troy area, stop by. He's got a great shop on 25A. And I think what I realized through that portion of it is that the steel revenue actually started superseding the wood. And what I realized is that these are 2 different customers, and 2 of them, 2 different advertisements, 2 different talk tracks, 2 different permit applications, 2 different sales processes, because a lot of shed people are RTO or they're smaller, price points. And the sales process is shorter. And in reality, you're looking at like 3 to 6K is pretty much an average shed. Maybe a little bit higher than that, but the metal, totally different ball game. 30 by 40, 30 by 50s. I sold a couple. I sold yours. Yours was the biggest unit that I had sold. I think you got the order form somewhere. I think you were number 5 or something. That I had ever sold. I had to call the company a million times to try to figure out how to do vertical paneling pricing, because I was back in the Stone Age in 2019 and 2020 where you had to use a piece of paper to figure out the price. Now it's a little bit different, but so that became, oh my gosh. So if someone sells a metal building, we can give them a slice of it as long as we pay for the advertising. And I think one thing led to the next, kind of go back to the youth group. We did a trial run in 2021 in the summertime where basically a high school football team worked at the shop in Huber. And basically I pumped them leads. They sold buildings. We overwhelmed a company in North Carolina that we won't mention, that we sold, I think, 100 buildings in like a 3-month time span. I mean, we were door dashing Five Guys every day. If that's that type of money, we was doing pretty decent, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. But what that taught me is that, although I felt there was good camaraderie with the kids, like this was also a business we could do professional hiring and really give some career opportunities. And so we started advertising nationally for metal building sales. In 2021, I taught myself how to do Facebook advertising. Got super good at that, very detailed, very good, studied that almost profusely until I was good at it. And then that kind of led to our first, I would say, for the lack of a better way to say it, like the first real sales team that came in 2022 in February, where we had actually Valentine's Day. Basically, it's in a couple of days. That's pretty much a 3-year anniversary.
3-year anniversary.
Where we hired 5, and several of them, if most of them still sell metal buildings, I think. You were one of those guys, and basically the rest is history. When you hire smart people, they tell you what to do with your business. So I think a hidden benefit is, if you're expanding, it is kind of scary, but if you hire the right people, they'll basically expand it for you as long as you trust them, because they're bringing ideas that you wouldn't. I know I've kind of went on a little rant there,
I think that's fair. I mean, I think, I always look at it from the boat perspective. If you're in a paddle boat and you're trying to paddle that boat by yourself, or you're using 2 oars and you're paddling on both sides, it's always better to get more people in the boat, get a little bit more extra energy, give them a paddle, and everybody can kind of paddle. Walk me through a little bit. So we skipped over just a little bit that I want you to touch on for these shed guys. So you were in a situation with your manufacturer where consignment, everything's going pretty good. You're kind of leading the charge in sales. You're expanding. You're spending your money, right? You're doing what you can to expand your territory and really take shape in a 50-mile bubble. Because a lot of these guys that are doing just sheds have to really live in these constricted confines of like 50 miles from your lot. So as you start to bring in on additional costs and additional need for not just, you needed people to be at the lot, period. But you were trying at that time to give them a base salary, give them something to eat on, and then asking them to do the legwork of selling. You got into a situation, which I don't mind sharing, and if I don't think you mind sharing either, where your manufacturer, because of your diligence into trying to expand, kind of pulled one over on you. They took something from you. Tell me about that. Because this story I think is what to me, when I look at Eric Olson, when people ask me what drove Eric Olson to do metal building sales, from a shed perspective, again, we love the shed industry. We sell like a lot of sheds. We love our guys over at Sheds Direct. If you guys are in need of a manufacturer and you're listening to this, give those guys over at Sheds Direct a call. They will make it super easy for you. If you are looking to sell some wood structures on your property, 13 or 14 states, I forget what they cover, but it's basically the Atlantic coast up through Ohio and Indiana, southern Michigan. Cheap plug there for those guys. But what I'll tell you is I feel like that motivated you not just to expand metal, but to also be even more motivated in the wood space. Tell me what happened with the manufacturer.
Okay. Yeah. So to piggyback, and then I'll jump in there. If you are in the Midwest and you want sheds on your property, hit us up and we'll share details with the district guy. His name's JW, super good friend of ours. He'll get you set up through Sheds Direct. Love Sheds Direct. Why did we end up with Sheds Direct? I think we're reversing the tape all the way. Why did we switch off the original manufacturer? And gosh, there's so much juice to this answer. And so I want to start with the zoomed in answer, and then I'm going to say it from pretty much like a one sentence standpoint. We and just out of just sheer numbers, we were doing a couple $1 million a year in wood sales. And so just to say where we were at, and if you have a shed lot and you're listening to this and you're selling a couple a month, it's not like you're doing a bad job. My whole career was selling sheds as often and as frequently as possible. I was working like 6 or 7 days a month. For some time, I lived at the shed lot, and like I was breathing it. So when
6 or 7 days a week, 6 or 7 days a week.
Oh yeah, I said month. Yeah, I meant a week, and I'm always working on my phone. So if
that's true.
Yeah, hopefully my wife doesn't freak out because I'm taking messages like all the time.
Hello, shed and carport industry. I'm Cord Cook, Chief Brand Strategist here at Shed Geek Marketing. Did you know that Shed Geek Marketing works with 45 shed companies and counting? And we are not slowing down in 2025. One of the neat benefits to working with Shed Geek Marketing is working with an agency as opposed to just an individual. When you work with Shed Geek Marketing, you have a team of professionals working diligently to ensure your success. From branding guidelines and brand books to websites, Google and Meta tag tracking that measures the traffic to your website and social media pages, CRM setup and full automation build-outs, lead funnel integration, and so much more. Worried about whether or not we can serve you? Don't be. Shed Geek Marketing works with manufacturers ranging from $1 million a year in sales up to $80 million a year in sales. There is no manufacturer too big or too small. Remember, marketing is an investment that should be making you money. That's why nearly 50 companies have decided to work with Shed Geek Marketing. So for more information, go to www.shedgeek.com and submit some basic information, and we'll reach out with a discovery call and patiently walk you through how we can best serve you. Thank you for your time and look forward to working with you.
So once I learned that, the percentage we were receiving, and really this is not a stab at manufacturers. If you're paying somebody, let's say 10%, and the person down the street is also making 10%, but you're selling, 75 more times units a year, and really not treating the more important to your bottom line, which is the person selling more sheds. Like if you're not giving them better treatment than not personally, like you should be nice to everybody, but if you're not giving them financial benefit of that, like you're really doing a disservice. I mean, because if you think about like how Coca-Cola works, like mom and pop, they pay a different price. If you're Speedway, you're paying cheaper prices as a corporate office because you're selling 1 million more bottles a month. I'm just making numbers up, but so yeah. I ended up getting on the phone and did it the right way. I stated my case. I ran numbers on a Google Doc. I called the person. That person was defeatist on the phone with me. That person knows who I'm talking about. No stab. I just said, we've done XYZ last year. This year we've done XYZ. We'd like to expand into a different. We want to do a third location. And in order to do that, we're really looking for a 2 to 5% increase on our down payments. And here's what we're going to do with it. It's not like I'm bullying you into giving us more money. And those words were said. So got a phone call back, and basically answer was just flat out no. I knew he was going to say no. That's what he had told me. And so I in the moment thought in my mind, do I want to press this thing? Do I want to try to figure out a different way? I knew some other companies were paying a little bit more, and so I basically said in the nicest possible way, you guys need to come get your sheds because we're going to swap companies. And that particular guy, he said the wrong thing to me. And honestly, just for juice on the show, because I'm both things are going great, but everybody's winning, honestly. So I'm only saying this for the story. That guy said 9 out of 10 dealers come back and this is a big mistake. And I was like, if I get your sheds off our property, like I'm never going to call you again. And it's not because I don't like you. It's just because I'm not in business to be friends with people. I want to pay people's paychecks, you know, and so that was the wrong thing. Because if you tell Eric Olson, no, you're not, I don't believe in you. Well, then that's okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we'll see you some other time.
There's a resolution. There's a resolution that happened in you in that moment that I feel like, that took place somewhere around fall of 21, something like that.
Right before we hired you guys.
Yeah. So, you know, we're being brought into this as, you know, we're a hot startup. We did, I think, several $1 million in metal building sales online, utilizing this group of talent, which was basically intern type talent. You know, these were guys who were sponges that soaked it up. And to be honest with you, some of those guys have gone on to metal building success, right? Just metal building success, wood shed success. You know, you're responsible for a lot of talent that is spread among multiple companies. So I felt like, from a newbie, you know, I'm gonna give my perspective now a little bit.
Yeah.
I came in February 2022. I knew you from a sales role. You sold me my building, all of that. It was great. I think you saw in me pretty quickly, you know, my background, you know, heavily in sales, worked in direct sales for multiple years, did multi-level marketing, was a sales manager at an automotive company, and then was a service manager and dispatcher, stuff like that. So I've got the team building chemistry. I'm the head coach, right? I really like to be the head coach of the team, but you empowered me. You're the general manager, right? You gave me the tools necessary to kind of do that. But what I saw from a perspective was, this company had made a mistake. You had a new company on deck, and that company honestly didn't really work out for us either. I think the one thing that maybe the call to action here from a manufacturer, if you're a manufacturer listening to this, take care of your best dealers. Number one, take care of them, nestle them close, keep them close, especially if you are a hardcore consignment type of manufacturer where you are really doing a majority of your business through consignment sales on independent lots. Take care of those. Take care of those guys. Now, if you're a dealer, give your manufacturer some grace, right? I think that the fact that we still have a relatively good working relationship with both of those companies that we left behind when it was time to make a change says how we left in the first place. I think we left in ways that were fair. I think from the outsider's perspective, I was part of 2 of those transitions. We're actually on our 4th manufacturer as a company. And, you know, we transitioned through, we did kind of the national conglomerate. You did with your first company. We did a regional conglomerate, I think is more of a fair statement, with the second go around. Then we went to a straightforward consignment type of model with a small manufacturer, and did a lot of good things. They were just really good partners, but not able to do the kind of volume that we demanded and do the kind of coverage that we wanted to do. When we got to the point with Sheds Direct, where we're at now, we really want to do a national. We really want to sell sheds coast to coast. We want to be in everybody's backyard. We want Dayton Barns and All Steel Buildings to be a national brand, right? And it's given us platforms like this, you know, meeting Shannon, getting to do this podcast with you, Eric. You know, you said it, I think, in the last episode. It's really a dream that's come to fruition at this point. We talked about Steel Kings. You know, one of the things I want to add to this too is, like, I think the call to action here is a couple of things. If you're listening to this podcast, don't be afraid to make a change if you're uncomfortable. If you're feeling some sort of way, what you're doing today is not what you have to do tomorrow or a week from now or a year from now. We have had a couple of different business partners. Some of them leave on good terms. Some of them leave on not such good terms. We've had metal manufacturers. We've had wood manufacturers. We try to leave those situations as best we can. Some relationships can't be saved. Some can be. And some actually go on and bear fruit in other ways. We have relationships that we lost that we thought, I think Eric and I, you know, we probably cried over a couple of them, right? We probably shed a tear and you know, missed those people. But at the end of the day, if you're good to those people, they're going to pay you back in spades. And we've gotten paid back in spades time and time again, harvesting those relationships and really picking the right people to go into battle with. I think it took me and Eric a minute, even though Eric saw it in me. Maybe I didn't see it in myself. Maybe I didn't know enough about the industry. Maybe we didn't have the right team. Whatever the case is, we couldn't be tighter right now. We could not be tighter. Everything that Eric and I do right now is kind of in a lockstep. Every idea that we have, we bounce off each other. So we were lucky enough to whittle down from really what was a group of 5 or 6 people at one time. Then we kind of took it down to like 3. Then it was down to 2. Now we've got these 2 key components here that are doing some big things in this space. My call to action really is that. It really is. Pay attention to what you're doing today. It does not have to be what you're doing tomorrow. Eric, tell me a little bit about.
I want to piggyback.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
and I think.
Go ahead, bro.
I think that, man, and that is, the story of Dayton Barns is that I have a master's degree in special ed. Like, I was a teacher. I worked at a distribution center and was like a top guy there for some time. And then I'm a one guy show selling sheds, and not that that's a bad thing. It's like, I have never cared. So, like, I've never cared more, less about where the direction of Dayton Barns is going. Cause I think, like, if you have to, you shouldn't care about, like, oh, well, we've always done it that way. No. Like, that is the worst thing I think you could ever say ever, is like, oh, we always do it that way. And I'm like, okay, why is it sucking now then? And
complacency.
Sorry to say it like that, but like, who am I? I'm not the shed god, so I don't have all the answers. I'm the captain of the ship. I steer. A good captain makes like 2 rudder turns at most a year, and that's it.
Yeah.
And if you just keep going in the same direction, you're going to run into something. So I'm like, so I think the story of Dayton Barns, if you're listening, is really the story of like looking at it without your pride and just looking at it from like, okay, what direction and where does it need to go? And then just don't care about the answer to that, and then once you take a couple steps, man, like I would have ever known, me and you was going to end up in Joshua, Texas, and from the top manufacturer getting the best pay rate that they even offer, and
being aggressive,
being in this building right here,
So complacency, I think that's one thing that we do not allow. Complacency doesn't exist. We almost change. We change course like we might change our shirt. I mean, honestly, we will pivot on a needlehead, because if we see an opportunity in one fell swoop the opposite direction, we're going there, because we are always looking for what's best for the business. Yeah, if it's right, that's right. Resiliency is another thing that I think I see in you a lot, is, how far we've come, the ups and downs, and it's kind of this like promised land, right? We work to get to this moment in time where we have the right building, which I'm standing in. We have the right team of people that are sitting behind me. We have the right attitude, and we have the right mantra as a team. And we really want to help people do the things that they want to do. And that's not just your customers. That's our employees. That's our future employees. That's our business partners. We are all about, and this is a big one for you, Eric. Personal development's huge for you. I know, we've both done well over the last couple of years. You specifically over the last year have lost like over 100 pounds, and, been very serious. Yeah, very meticulous, very serious, very dedicated. And that's made you a better business partner. It's made you a better friend. It's made you a better husband. It's made you a better person. You're active in your church body. You're active in your community. You're active in your business. And, I can say the same for me. I lost weight a few years ago. I put on a couple pounds. I'm still a burly guy. But if you saw me a couple years ago, you saw me in 2018, 2019, I'd fill this whole screen up. If you can see us on YouTube, I would have filled this whole screen up and then some. I'd have been a couple of screens. So I can tell you, man, I mean, if you are listening to this and you've made it through now 33 minutes of us shooting the breeze about where we came from. Don't sit back and be idle about where you're at currently. I think this is a call to action episode before we really start getting into the nuances and we start bringing on some guests. And, that's one thing that I want to kind of outline a little bit as we finish up for today. You're going to see episodes with Eric. You're going to see episodes with me. You're going to see episodes with both of us. You're going to see some special guests. You're going to get some metal building talk. You're going to get some wood shed talk. We're probably going to spit a little bit of our motivational, jargon at you. And not everybody buys into that, but really we're not trying to tell you to do anything. If anything, we're trying to get you to open up your mind 1 or 2%. And if you feel like you're sitting back and you're frustrated or having a bad day and something that we say makes an impact on you, drop us a like, a comment, drop us a line. I'm Jared at Dayton Barns, Jared at Dayton Barns. He's Eric, ERIC at Dayton Barns. We are open books. We love to be of good service to people. I say that all the time. I want to be of good service to my friends and family and loved ones. What do you think, Eric? I mean, this is episode 2. We're getting ready to finish it up. We're going to have some exciting stuff coming down the road. We're probably going to visit with Shannon. I've got some tips and tricks. I've got some advertising. What do you want to do, man, as we finish up today?
I feel like we deep dove into it, and I think we could maybe even scratch the surface later on maybe, what were we doing before? I think as we stand here on the edge, it's like we've got so much content that's coming. If you're a shed dealer, manufacturer, parts, components, delivery driver, whatever, tune us in. We are definitely going to have a good time no matter what. From a business standpoint, we're putting on the hat of co-hosts in a podcast. We want you to tune into us every week and look forward to special guests, trade show appearances. We are definitely going to do a live stream from the next, I don't remember which one it is, but there's one coming up, I think in May or April, that we're definitely going to be a part of, and be hanging with the Shed Geek, Shannon himself. Let's go to dinner. If you're going, let's go to dinner, let's network. And then we're also going to teach you, as the Steel Kings podcast, we're going to teach and discuss and really enter steel buildings into the marketplace with wood sheds as well. They are married, and we want you guys to want to make money as a business owner. And we've somehow over the course of the past couple of years figured out the marriage between both, where both can be served well, and oftentimes customers buy one each, and sometimes in some cases. So we really want to, create a crowd to follow kind of those topics. And, if you like us, great.
These two episodes, right? The previous episode, it was a kind of a foundational episode, who we are, what we're about. This episode today, if you take something away from it specifically, other than the call to actions that we outlined, take away from the fact that we were in your shoes. And as a matter of fact, we're still in your shoes right now. We can speak to where you're at. We can give you that nickel's worth of free advice. Take it or leave it. We're never going to say anything other than what's on our minds, what's on our hearts, facts as we see them. We have good relationships and bad. We want to have more good than bad. Everybody has something about what they're doing that they could do better. I don't care if you're Elon Musk or Bill Gates or whatever the most, successful professional person is in the world. They always strive to do better. Complacency is not something that's acceptable, and resiliency is something that pays off in spades. I can't echo enough what you said, Eric, and I want to finish up this episode with a call to action to our friends. If you are a manufacturer of wood sheds, metal buildings, any kind of component that puts our buildings together, fasteners, hardware, wood, lumber, we'd love to talk to you. We have a huge network of individuals who not only listen to this podcast, but listen to the podcast with Shannon. We'd love to advertise for you. We'd love to spend some time and get to know your products. Even if you're not a paid advertiser, we love to know more about the industry and the components and the products in which we sell. We want to know more about that. So give us a call, give us an email, give us a shout. We're happy to help. Eric, you got anything? Last words, finishing up for today?
Man, I think we did it. I think we're ready for episode 3. And I'm ready to sell $1 million worth of sheds today.
That's what I'm saying, man. So let me say this for the next time. Check us out next week on the Steel Kings podcast. I'm Jared. He's Eric. We are the Steel Kings. Check out our friends at J Money. Their product is going to help you guys sell buildings, whether it's a woodshed, metal building. If you're a contractor, give those guys over at J Money a call. Joel and Katie are happy to help you. One last time for today, guys. We are out. Have a great day.
Before you go, the J Money team wants to thank you for listening to today's Steel Kings podcast. Remember, money is king. If you need a financing option on your portable wood sheds or steel buildings, we are here to help. Just check out jmoneyllc.com for more information. Don't forget to catch the next episode. We'll still be here. Have a great day.